Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Recognize the outfit? Yep, that's because I'm pulling another let's do a few videos in one day kind of thing because doctor's appointments, MRIs, all the things with this is just a lot. And you guys are freaking me out in the comments. Let me tell you what, apparently there's like some kind of syndrome and I am terrifying myself looking at this stuff online. Just so you guys know, you're getting in my head. You're so getting in my head. I am going to ask my doctor about it though. I go to him on Thursday, so I'm like, so let me just ask you about this little thing here, but you guys, you're freaking me out. Come on now. Anyway, today we are going to talk about my top most favorite powders. Again, in this video, yes, there's other powders that I do really like. MAC Mineralize Skinfinish is one of them. Don't really use it anymore, but I still suggest it for people. But I'm going to be talking about the ones that I use the most. So I picked out 7. I feel like I am the powder queen. I am such a judgmental person when it comes to powder. I'm like, you are not good enough for me. I do not like you. I am a brat with powder. So if you ever want to ask somebody the best powder for X, Y, and Z, it's me. I've tried almost them all. And I'm not one to try it over and over again with powders. Like, you know, some things you'll keep trying. Nope, powder you don't like. I don't like it one time and I'm done with you. That's what happened with the Cover FX, like the illuminating powder everyone asked me about. I tried it one time, did not like it, and I took it back. Told you I'm a brat. I'm such a brat. So that brings me straight on to one of my #1 illuminating powders. And I cannot tell you which one to pick between the first two because these are my ride or dies. You have to have them both. Don't ask me which one to pick. I have no idea. So this is the Mer The Powder. I mean, how arrogant do you have to be like the powder? There is no other powder. Anywho, this guy right here, my first love was definitely the original. You cannot get your hands on it. I do like that formula better, but it's kind of irrelevant. Do I have a bunch of backups though? Yep. But I have already gone through 2 of these and this is my 3rd one. This one's brand new. So that tells you that I do use it. This is an illuminating powder. It also has the Miracle Broth in here. It's like this slight yellowy peachy tone in here. How can something be yellow and peach? I don't know. Maybe it's just me not making up my mind. But it's a radiant, very finely milled with the Miracle Broth in there from Mer. So it's not going to dry out your skin. It looks gorgeous. And this is what I typically use to set my makeup. So I do everything. I use something else underneath my eyes and then I set my face using Mer. Unless I want a matte finish because I'm breaking out, this is what I'm going to use. My next absolute ride or die, and these are the 2 that I can't pick between. I could not tell you which one to get because if I did not have one, I would be royally ticked off. This is also my 2nd one of this, and I'm almost out. Like, I am about to order it because I can't be without it. This is the Sisley Photo Padre Libra, I don't know. It's #1 Irisee, the loose face powder. This is what you guys always see me buff with. So I take my Mer powder brush, I put it in here, and this is what I use when I'm done with everything. My entire face is done, and I want to smooth things out, soften lines, just kind of diffuse the whole look. And I want to look like I have a filter on my face. This does it for me. But I can't choose. Do not make me choose between Mer and Sisley. It just won't happen. I get asked that all the time, especially on my Next app. People ask me, my Next app is how you text with me. It looks like a text message to you, but it's an app for me. People ask me all the time, so I'm gonna get one of those powders. Which one? I'm like, don't make me choose. Don't make me choose. This is a powder that I have tried to replace several times. I have tried several under the eye powders, and none of them do what this one does for me. And I have run through so many of these, probably at least 10 since I started. This is, oh, see that big hole? I love this stuff. This is Hourglass Diffused Light. I take my beauty blender or beauty sponge, press it in here, and it goes underneath my eyes, down the center of my nose, chin, and forehead. It livens me up a little bit, even if I don't have a brighter concealer on. But it doesn't look cakey underneath the eyes, and it doesn't make my pores look bad. Like, how does that happen? How do I look radiant and my pores not look shiny? I don't know, but this does it. Next up, we have the by TERRBy Hyaluronic Powder. Now, this one I haven't gone through because I use a tiny little bit. This is what I like to use to diffuse my pores, or down here, my arm. But what I like to do is take a fluffy brush like this and then I will blur out my pores with this powder, especially like if I've done my makeup and for whatever reason I'm just really oily right here, then this is what I will use to just diffuse it all. It'll suck up the oil, but it doesn't make me dry or cakey because it's hyaluronic powder. Or if I've just blotted my face because I've gotten oily through the day, this is what I like to just, again, diffuse. I rarely set my entire face with this powder. I definitely do not like it underneath the eyes. For whatever reason, it feels very dry underneath the eye to me, but around the face, it's beautiful. If you want something that's just going to very lightly go over your skin to set things but not make you look dry, this is definitely it. The next two are my two favorite matte setting powders. So what I will do with these is what I do with the La Mer whenever I'm having problem skin, or I'm just like, you know, I've had a lot of texture on my skin. I don't want to add too much radiance because if I set with a radiant powder and then I buff with a radiant powder and I have texture on my skin, it can be a little bit of a mess. So what I like to use, I think this one's my favorite. This is the Chanel Padre Universal stuff again. Natural Finish Loose Powder, and I'm in the number 30 Natural Translucent number 2. This is actually what I have on my skin right now because I used a super dewy foundation, so I didn't want to be too luminous. So I used this to set my foundation, and again, Hourglass underneath the eyes, and then Sisley to buff. This powder feels like velvet. I recommend this to just about anybody. I don't care if you're dry. Well, too dry, probably not. I'm gonna stick with, I would definitely suggest either the Sisley or La Mer, but like normal, oily especially, it's gonna be beautiful on you and it just looks like, seriously, it's like velvet. It's so pretty. Next up, I have the Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. This is a translucent powder. It is in the shade Light. This one is very similar to the Chanel one, but I find this one to be slightly more drying. But it does have a really nifty little like compartment here. You can take this lid up and then you don't end up with powder everywhere because we all know how loose powders are the devil and they go everywhere. So if you wanted to put this one in your purse for travel, it's definitely going to be friendly to you. I again like to use this whenever I have texture or if I know I'm going to be oily. A lot of times I like to use this one if I'm going to be on my motorcycle because it's going to keep me more matte longer. It keeps my makeup looking more fresh because I do get oily in the T-zone and this just helps me because I will put the Hourglass here but then this goes everywhere else and it just sets my makeup and locks it in. And it looks really smooth, but it is slightly drier than the Chanel. So if you're oily, I would definitely suggest this one. I don't think I would really suggest this for anybody who is dry. The Chanel, I feel like some people can still get away with. This one I would not, but if you're looking for that kind of finish at a lesser price, this one's definitely cheaper. Now I feel like this one is going to shock you to be in my absolute favorites for powders, but I have this powder in 3 different shades and it goes winter to summer for me. This is the NYX No Filter Powder. I love this powder. If I am looking for a powder that has a little bit of extra coverage in there, it doesn't add a lot. It's about the same as what the MAC Mineralize Skinfinish would use. But think MAC Mineralize Skinfinish with a softer, I want to almost say thinner, more radiant kind of finish to it, whereas the MAC one is a little bit more like velvety and kind of will smooth out the skin. This one smooths out the skin, but it does it in a thinner, less obvious way, and it's more radiant. It's flippin' beautiful. Now, I did not put this all over my face. That's why I've gotten over like the little hump of it. But what I do is I take my blender, I will rub it in here, and then if I have an acne spot or anything that I want a little extra coverage, but I don't want to add a concealer or another layer of foundation, what I like to do with this powder is take it, put it on my blender, and then press it over any area before I set my face so that I get that little bit of extra coverage, and it also smooths out the skin right there. It makes it look a little bit more seamless. And then I will set my face. But that just adds that little bit of extra coverage and it just looks so much better if I use this instead of going in with an extra layer of something creamy and thick. I feel like I need to show you guys another like tutorial on how I do my foundation, like my routine, especially for the summer. If you guys want to see that, definitely let me know down below because if you don't, I don't want to film it. I don't like to film things that you guys don't want to see. Anywho, that is it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below what your favorites are, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!